We are recording.
We've got some champagne there for whoever wants. Yes, the young man in the front row. If you haven't got some champagne and you want some, put your hand up. And we might not have enough glasses anyway. Alright, firstly, let me start.
Don't spill it.
The younger kid in the back. That's right. Firstly, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming tonight to celebrate Mum's 90th birthday. We have some. Firstly, we have some apologies. So I apologise. So Moish Mum's brother is an apology. Chava Mum's sister is an apology. Rosalind and Monk and the Munkasai, if I can use that, are an apology. Daniel and Michael from Hong Kong are an apology, they couldn't make it. All your family from Israel and America and France are an apology, they couldn't make it. One of them said on Facebook they're in Miami, one of them said say hello, you know, so everybody who could or would or should has been notified, contacted, advised, introduced, etc., etc. For everyone who is here and who could make it, thank you very, very much. We have a wonderful representation of long-standing family, friends, acquaintances, no, not acquaintances, all friends, all friends, and people who have known, speak for yourself, people who have known, people who have known Mum for a long time in many different guises. Mum is an, should I call you Mum or Esther? Edzia. Can you hear me? Okay. For everyone who knows my mum, even the dog Dee Dee's here. Everyone who knows Edzia is a remarkable individual, a remarkable person. She's not prone to giving speeches.
It's not a eulogy, is it?
Not yet.
So don't.
In fact, I was going to make no, Selena, thank you for interrupting. I was going to make a comment about something along those lines. Everyone who knows Edzia, she's not prone to making speeches in front of audiences. In fact, she's generally very uncomfortable in front of audiences in one way, shape or another. But with each and every person here, by and large, under multiple different circumstances, you know that when you catch up with my mum, you can have a conversation that will go on for hours. Especially on the telephone. So after about 10 minutes on the telephone, when you say, Mum, I've got to go, Mum, I've got to go, Mum, I've got to go, she says, okay, see you later. But there's one more thing I want to tell you. One more thing I want to tell you.
You haven't got time for me?
I didn't realise.
But what you can't take away from that is, despite her reticence in being a public speaker and being in front of an audience and communicating, and there's no question that when you have a conversation with my mum, it ranges across a myriad of topics,
including football,
including sport these days.
Really?
Paradoxically, when Nathan and I were growing up, it used to be oi gewalt. You know, in winter it's one ball, in the Zoom it's a zweite ball, you know.
That was Yiddish for those who didn't understand.
A bola in, a bola here, football, cricket, ich verstehe gut.
Sebastian Fenster. Gefällt mir nicht.
But once Nathan and I started supporting different football teams, my mum started taking an interest, and she used to know whether, I don't think she remembers this stuff now, but she used to know whether my team won or Nathan's team won. She actually took a vague interest.
What she knew is you were in Brisbane this weekend. That's what she knew.
All right, she knew. Exactly. But for those of you who don't want to talk football, you know, we won't discuss football because it's a sore topic for some in this room. For Mum, it's a myriad of subjects. It's football. It's not football. It's politics. It's culture. It's art. It's music. It's the opera that she saw in 1952. Where?
Where?
It's the person. And where? Well, I don't remember. Mum remembers. It's the director who directed it. It's the person who made the movie. It's the conversations she had about the Second World War. It's the conversations everybody has had about the Second World War and Mum's recollection about all those conversations. It's the where is she? She's over there hiding in the corner. It's the story about Anella and how Anella was born and everything that was involved around that birth. And my mum wasn't even there and had nothing to do with it. And she knows that detail. She was involved in it. But my mum knows every single detail about these issues. So, from when I look at it, and when I look at it, I think when I think about it, it's remarkable. It's remarkable. It's remarkable that you've turned 90 years of age, that your health is beyond extraordinary. But your health is beyond extraordinary. You know, when sadly our dad died, 9 years ago, coming up to the 10th, well, this is the 10th year, Mum's health, paradoxically, Mum's health has actually improved dramatically since that time, partly because she started looking after herself and started living a life that was different to a previous life. And in a life in which she became dramatically more introduced to her younger cousin generation. The cousin,
Facebook.
Well, hold on. You're interrupting. Again, you're interrupting.
Look, it's his speech, not your speech. You get the right of reply afterwards.
Cousins like Mary, like Lena, and new introductions like Frida. So Mum had developed... And Maya. Sorry, well, I couldn't see that. You normally interrupt me. A cohort of people that, take my mum out, go out to dinner, to the theatre, to this, to that. So Mum suddenly got this, Junge Gvardia of relatives and friends. But of course there's also the existing long-standing friends who are in the room tonight. Erica, Sasha and Avram, Elka, I'm making it up as I go, but I hope to see you.
Name the matches.
And then, of course, there's my in-laws as well, who have been, part of the scene for, 28 to 30 years, and have been, and as well as in-laws get on, as well as mother-in-laws get on with their daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws, I think it's been a pretty good.
He's on dangerous territory.
It's been a pretty good, robust relationship. And then I look around the room and I see the Chabermans and the Eisenmans and I think about the family. We were talking about it in the other room, how we'd be every Saturday afternoon at the Eisenmans or at the Lewins as a family. Big family gatherings that you don't have often enough, that you don't celebrate. You don't celebrate Yom Tovim often enough. You don't celebrate birthdays and simchas. As I said to Pearl, who turned 60 only, 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago. We don't get together and celebrate often enough, and when there is a reason to celebrate, we must celebrate, we should celebrate. A number of us here, and many of us know, we went to a funeral last week of Sluggo, who was 67 in the prime of his life. A wonderful person who many would see regularly, who I would see 3 or 4 times a year, who was on Facebook all the time, and then suddenly no more. And then suddenly no more. So this is not a eulogy, this is a celebration. This is a celebration of life, and someone who's lived an amazing life, who's done amazing things, and who Nathan and I and Josh, at the very least, will have the wonderful pleasure of taking back to Uzbekistan in May of this year, June of this year, because Mum's ready to get on a plane at any time. If you say to Mum, we're going overseas, she'll have a bag.
Especially when I get the business class tickets.
She'll have a bag. Mum will have her bags packed 2 days earlier, and we'll be up before everybody, and we'll be ready to go. And so, it's going to be with great pleasure. Probably a few sauce as well, but with great pleasure that we're able to go back and share some of that. And on the Facebook stuff, I'll leave that to Nathan in just 1 minute.
What's Facebook?
I don't think that I think, you know, increasingly we're all living longer. Increasingly we're all living longer, but hopefully we're all living healthier lives. You know, Mum is an example of someone who has lived a long life, a fantastically, not necessarily a wonderfully happy life, but an interesting life. She's lived a great life in Australia, most of it in Australia. So she's almost like an Aussie, almost. She still has an amazing...
Not quite, she doesn't follow cricket.
No, almost like an Aussie. She has an amazing, short-term memory, not so fantastic, but she has an amazing long-term memory. So look, before we charge our glasses, I'm going to hand over to Nathan. He's going to say a few words, probably more than me, which will excite the crowd, no doubt. But from my point of view, from Marcia's point of view, from my kids' point of view, I'm speaking on behalf of Nathan and Sue and their kids' point of view. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for celebrating with us. And Mum, happy birthday.
Well, I'd like to thank my older brother for giving me the opportunity to speak. Now, I won't go into who's older, but you probably know. So look, it's kind of interesting how the years go by, and we've been celebrating the 50th birthday, the 55th, the 60th, the 70th. Seems like only yesterday the 85th birthday at our place 5 years ago, and now it's the 90th birthday. You definitely look younger. There's no question about it. My mum has certainly, I think, in many ways become more socially aware, become more interconnected. Henry said, "Let's talk about Facebook," so I will. She used to say to me, "Well, what do you do? What do you do every day?" She said, you graduate as a doctor, what do you do? And I said, well, Monday I get a flight to Canberra, Tuesday I flight to Sydney, Wednesday I go to Frankston Hospital, Thursday I turn up to the clinic somewhere, Friday I have a meeting with Henry, and that's my life. But when do you practice medicine? They said, that's what I do. I go around the country, it's lots of fun, I bump into people at airports, it's a great life. She still doesn't get it, but we've moved on past... You get it, good. We've moved on past that, and Mum, interestingly enough, has now acquired a skill around being able to use a computer, or to be specific, an iPad. Henry tried a few times, and I said, forget it, it isn't going to work. He actually went round once and put a computer in the house, and somehow thought if it was there, it would get connected, and Windows would fly and start me up, and magic would happen. It ended up in the cupboard. This Macosh, you know, and in the cupboard, put away. But then he tried an interesting thing where once he morphed from iPad 2 to iPad 3 or whatever, he gave her the iPad 1, and with her friends, she actually started to use it. And we set her up with, we have a Pinsky domain, because Henry decided we needed one, so we have Pinsky.com. And one day, we set her up on estherpinsky.com, and she sent me an email. And now it doesn't stop. Now I get Linda's emails and Mary's emails and everybody's emails. And I said, Mum, I've seen that joke a million times. I don't do jokes.
I know, it's like yes.
And Facebook.
Facebook. What's happening on Facebook?
I don't use Facebook. I don't use...
You were teaching him.
Don't get me started.
I actually don't use Facebook because as a chair of a national committee in e-health, I've learned around the risks of not using and not publicly disclosing information. But my mother does use Facebook. And about three or 4 weeks ago, a friend of ours' daughter had a child, and Mum rings me up and says, "Oh, I heard Simone's had a baby." I said, "How do you know?" She said, "I saw it on Facebook." I said, unbelievable. So my mother is definitely socially connected and socially aware. And she actually now does know what a computer... She says, meine Freunde sagen, dass man darf nicht listen to computer. Computer rubbish. That's what you used to say 10 years ago. You now know what a computer is.
Tell them about the rhythm.
No, that's all right, Mum.
Another day. So look, you know, while she's got older, in many ways she's got a lot younger. And
Yes, because now she's complaining her iPad's too slow and not working.
Yeah.
I get that, and that's a perfect, and I get that. That's a perfect segue. So I will end at this point by in response to COVID pressure, I contacted Mr. Bill Gates. Mr. Bill Gates said, you have to pay for it, unfortunately, but we have delivered you a brand new chocolate. cigarette. Good luck.
You've got corrections, alright.
Okay, Edzia, from everybody, from our family, from Henry's family, from everybody here, Visit Hinton Swansea. I do want to end with one point actually, which is really quite relevant. The trip Henry mentioned that anyone's welcome to join us. We are flying into Tashkent and then we're going to hire a car and we're going to drive to a place called Mizlachul, where my parents and many of her friends and the Talmuds will be familiar with this, survived in that region through the war. Now, I tried very hard to find this town called Mizlachul. It's in the book, and if you've read the book, and Brian mentioned that he read it yesterday, I could not find this town, Mizlachul. The best I could come up was Mizlachul Steppe, which is a desert region. I said to Mum, you must have mistaken, it must have been a temporary town, it doesn't exist. My mother gets out her iPad, goes bang, 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 and says the Russians, the bloody Russians, they changed the name of the town. It's now called Gulat or something. So go figure. It's 4 hours by train. I'm telling it's there, and she was right. It was it, Mum. It's absolutely amazing. Motherfucker.
So if you happen to have a glass of champagne, if you happen to have a glass of champagne, hold, because Bubba's going to speak.
No, you have to wait till she speaks.
Marcia, where are you?
What's my son's? Thank you very much for coming, for a start. What my son's already said everything about me, so I can't add very. What I want to say, it's a wonderful surprise. I have to thank all my friends for coming here, enjoying and sharing my party. All of you are really very, very dear friends. The younger generation, and this is, you know who you are. These are children of my friends that passed away a long time ago, but we still keep in touch, and I really, truly treasure it that younger people, I was very surprised, and I'll go back 9 years, where Onela and Michael turned up to Liza's funeral, and it was such a surprise to me. So memories, very good memories. I also want to say, and this is about my late husband, I think everybody knows the stories, my children certainly do. We were here in 59, we arrived here in 1950, no language, no profession, $5, okay? But slowly we brought the rest of my immediate family, like my parents and my brother and sister. Then my late husband used to say, what about the rest of the family? They're in Poland, they've got to go out. So I've got all my lovely cousins here thanks to my late husband. So I want to mention his name because I always think about it, that my son got somebody, the example was terrific, and they know that. So this is the sort of, how shall I put it? I think it's genetic, I can't find a better word than that. We brought them up to share and to appreciate things. So what I also want to say, and that's thanks to my son, that they established a scholarship in Monash University for Liza's name, and it's called Genocide and Holocaust Studies. I'm underlining genocide and Holocaust, not only Holocaust. My idea was that Holocaust and a way of genocide are going to happen to other people. That's why genocide is so important to me. So that's one thing. What else is it? They're also involved in promoting Aboriginal welfare. So this is, I'm very proud of you, my son. I really am proud of what you do. They're also wonderful sons, and I've got wonderful two daughters-in-law and wonderful parents. All of it works brilliantly, except that sometimes we have rows, don't think so, so sometimes we really have fights. But they win, I give up.
Is it in the book?
At
Is it in
night
the book?
I don't care, let them win, let them think they win.
Nathan is brilliant.
So if you don't mind charging your glasses, those who have a glass.
Mary.
You can now roast.
You are now,
Offerire,
you have a right of reply. Good, bad, ugly, whatever you want.
I saw it.
Now, we're having dessert downstairs, Marcia. Mars? Dessert is downstairs?
In a while.
Okay. Dessert.
And with that, compote, the official ceremonies are over.